Falling off ledges is a build heavy, dash heavy, button mashing combo style experience that one can only get through the means of actually playing the game. In this journey, you get to play as an all-powerful shadow wizard who was unfortunate enough to be inside the British Museum. Now stuck in a kingdom where war crimes have yet to be made, we will have to test our skills within the harsh and frustrating challenges of the Chaos Trials. And then finally claim the legendary title of Discord Admin. Welcome to Hogwarts. Yeah, so the game just kind of starts, but now we have the options of 2 game modes to die in. But do not worry, because you will still be rewarded in Chaos Gems, which is used to buy the real spells that cost the real damage to my graphics card. And these spells are divided into 5 different elements, with each of them having a unique fighting style and effects on the enemies of the game, with my favorite being earth spells because throwing rocks at people is fun. You know, like a monkey. Although there is a 6th element, but its means of acquisition is a bit painful. One might say needing of skill. But what matters most isn't how many spells you have, it's how you utilize and combine them to make a build that suits your special mental needs. And alongside the spells are the relics and outfits, with each having their own similar or different effects, like buffing your crit chance or just reducing your max health to 1. And by combining everything together, we can make ourselves a variety of builds, like the drill, the crit fist build, the tax evasion build, the JoJo Part 2 build, and my personal favorite, the gun build. That's right, I gave Harry the wrong stick. And it even comes with a switch variant, because why use normal spells when you can throw rocks at a high velocity? And even when you use the exact same loadout, every run will be different from the last. However, this is a dungeon crawler, and what good would any game be without some RNG involved? This means that any relic or spell you need in order to complete a build has a high chance it wouldn't be sold by the vendors. And speaking of vendors, there's a few special vendors that each have a 1 in 7 chance of being present within the trials. This is Nox. He offers the player cursed relics, with each having a buff and a debuff. Just don't get too greedy though. Taffy is another special vendor, but his gimmick is that you have to damage him fast enough before you reset back to the center. Now, there's 2 ways to beat Taffy. You could kill him instantly, or watch as he resets every time you get close to killing him. All this is pretty cool, but there's a problem in actually having to find them. Thankfully, there's a way to fix this. Just gotta talk to the man in the mirror real quick. Okay. And by speedrunning through the tutorial again, my eyes will be cleansed from the horrors I just witnessed. Now I can take any relic I want. What amazing gameplay! You may have noticed by now, but there's at least 2, possibly 3 enemies within the entire game, and most of them have different reskins. We've got knights, archers, mages, Dark Souls mimic chests, and a whole lot of black people, with some of them having a mini boss variant. But since the levels are randomized, you could be fighting a few enemies in a large space, or get locked inside a small room with a golem. Also, because the levels correspond with the randomized council members, you have to fight enemies using the elements. And also elemental enemies in which they all can apply a different status effect. Meaning you can be slowed, poisoned, jolted, burned, or frozen. And don't worry, it gets worse. Because upon beating a council member, both the enemies and the next council member will gain more health, become faster, gain an extra attack, and have a faster recovery speed. If your controller wasn't already shattered enough, the stun lock in this game is absolutely diabolical. One might say a little devious or perhaps a bit suspicious. Also, because of this mechanic, depending on what council members you get and what tier they were placed in, you can either have the easiest fight or the fastest death. And the one that's high up on my personal tier list is Flame Empress Zeal. We're really making it out the furnace with this one. You see, just like all the other bosses, Flame Empress Azula has both ranged and melee attacks. But what separates her from the rest is her speed. Also, if you have her as the second to last boss, then good luck on your next run. Now, all of this may seem frustrating to fight against, but it actually makes the game quite fun, and all of their attacks can be dodged. Most of the time. But if you enjoy fighting the bosses, then there's the boss rush mode, where you get to fight all of the mini-bosses and bosses consecutively. It also happens to be faster, it's a lot more rewarding, and all of the vendors will stay in one space. So, if you can't clear a level or beat a boss, then it's honestly just a skill issue. Hey guys, Maxor here, and today we're going to be taking the entrance exam. I'm surprised they let me inside, considering that I'm the man behind the murders. Seriously, the only way you can get in is that you have to clear 3 rooms. But I'm sure this boss can't be that hard, right? Right? Welcome, one and all victims, to the classroom. We seem to have been missing a few words like patience and timing, but going back for a bit, this fight actually has 2 phases. In the first phase, all of his attacks are a bit patient, but he basically lets you beat him into the next phase, and thus begins the Avatar phase. Now I say that because he'll bend your life back into the soil. You see, the Swag Messiah is fast, has a lot of health, and will use every element against you while aggressively dashing you down at ankle-breaking speeds. It's like he's trying to become a police officer. But if you manage to survive the brutality, then you better catch him because he moves. Yeah, so good luck catching him. However, when you do win, he gives you one of his own spells in which you can use against him. But at this point, you're not fighting a boss anymore, you're fighting another player that has your moveset. And that only makes you want to start on him even more, because after all, we fucking love casting spells. You thought I forgot about this. No, I was just waiting for you to let your guard down because I'm lurking. But if you thought you were good at the game, then you haven't seen shit. You see, when you've beaten him another 10 times, and then break his awareness torches, you get a free ticket back to the start. That's right, he has a whole secret third phase where he leans forward in his gaming chair and uses his own custom loadout. This isn't a casual match anymore. It's competitive. And yes, the fight is this fast. Every attack he has can and will combo into each other, meaning that he can basically kill you within speedrun timing. We've turned the Swag Messiah into a low-tier god. This isn't even a test anymore, it's now a graduation from life. Which begs the question, why even make the Chaos Trials in the first place if you could just fight every wizard himself? But this fight really only has one objective. Survive. and that's easier than catching them. Now thankfully, there are several ways you can cheese this fight, and one of them is by abusing the iframes from jump spells. And if you're curious about the rewards, well, you've been looking at it the entire time. It copies the stats from the other outfits. So, with that in mind, I think it's about time I helped them uninstall the game.
Floating around like a little bitch and still barely won. Nigga, get the fuck out of my lobby.
You know, after many hours and all the holes I fell through, it's nice to see that I'm finally getting the recognition and title that I deserve.
Get that ass banned.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have an e-date with my kitten back in the VC.
Mods, crush his skull, thank you.